Welcome back. Let's recall how the teacher introduced the reading of the novel in class. Initially, she gave a list of suggested titles from which the students could select what they want to read, giving them 1 month to make a decision. She encouraged them to read the ad blurb of the novel in order to see what the story is all about. Later, the students shared with each other their novel, at the same time explaining their choices. You will notice that while the teacher guided them on what to read, the students were allowed to decide what they would eventually read. What is the advantage of this type of strategy? Purvis and Beach refer to this as engaging and connecting response strategies. What do these strategies entail? In an engaging strategy, the reader gets involved and responds emotionally to the events, language, or characters. Meanwhile, in a connecting strategy, the student relates similar experiences, attitudes, knowledge, or other texts to the text. As such, we find the students to be much involved and interested in the discussion of the text, in this case, the novel. Let's consider other ways by which to teach the novel in class.
Now, class, has anyone finished reading his or her novel? Not yet? Well, today we shall have the sharing of insights on what you have written about the novel of your choice. As for me, I have already read until the 3rd chapter of Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club. Well, for those of you who haven't read about this yet, it is the story about Chinese mothers and their respective daughters. Well, the Chinese mothers migrated to the United States during the Second World War. But whereas the Chinese mothers were born in China, their respective daughters were born in the United States. So that is where the conflict arises, because there is a cultural difference between the mothers and their respective daughters, okay? Because the Chinese mothers had a Chinese or a different upbringing, a Chinese upbringing, whereas their respective daughters had an American orientation. I really can't wait to finish this novel because, you see, I really want to find out how the characters will be able to really settle their personal conflicts, their personal dilemmas, and also how they'll be able to settle the cultural differences in the story. And also, I find it very interesting because I can find myself in this story. I can remember my mom and me in this novel. Okay? Yes, Aiko?
Miss, the writer has a Chinese surname. Could this novel be an autobiographical?
Well, it would seem like it because, you see, Amy Tan, the author of The Joy Luck Club, belongs to the 2nd generation Chinese American in her family. Okay? And as a matter of fact, it was written before that when she went to China, she said something like this. She was quoted as saying something like, "When I stepped on China, I became Chinese." This means, therefore, that she was able to find out, or she was able to understand her cultural heritage when she went to China. But I think that is only how far the resemblance goes between the author and the novel itself, because I think mainly the events and the characters are purely fictional. Yes, how about you, Enrico?
Now, I am interested in reading that novel. Is there a chance for us to watch a movie, Miss?
Certainly, you could watch the movie, but I think that before you watch the movie, read the novel first. It's much, much better. Okay? Now, let us see. So much for that, so much for me. Let us see what novels you have brought. Last time, I asked you to write down in your journals your insights regarding the novel which you are currently reading, okay? Did you bring your journals?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now, shall we start the show and tell? Who will start the show and tell? Would like to start? Yes, Melody.
Classmates, let me tell you about the novel that I am reading. This one is titled Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. So far, I haven't read the author yet, and I have just finished reading the first 15 pages. However, I already find this novel interesting. This tells about the seagull named Jonathan. So you see, the title of this novel refers to the main character of the novel.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes. Edna.
Melody, do you mean to say that there are no human characters in the story?
So far, I haven't read any human characters, so I guess all the characters here are birds. What is interesting is that these birds behave like humans. Like Jonathan, he shows determination in learning how to fly well, unlike the other seagulls, who are contented to fly in just low areas. But Jonathan shows his determination in learning how to fly well higher than the others. So, Jonathan succeeds even if this requires sacrifice on his part.
Jomer.
Well, I think that's admirable. I know a lot of people who persevere in their work and later on succeed in it.
That's true, which is why I hope Jonathan will be able to accomplish his goal and learn how to fly high and mighty.
You're doing a great job, Melody. Now, can you share with the class, with us, your thoughts written down in your journal?
This is what I have written. Jonathan Seagull is like a human being. He is creative. He never contents himself with doing things like all typical seagulls. Rather, he keeps on creating, discovering, and improving his flight. Similarly, human beings are creative to be able to fend for themselves and others. This creativity enables humans to rise above all creatures.
Thank you very much, Melody, for sharing with us your journal. Good luck as you try to finish reading that novel. And also, don't forget to keep on writing your insights in your journal, okay? Now, anyone else who would like to share? Who else can share with us? Yes, how about Enrico?